everybody. I am wrapping up a single weapon fighting dagger build with high melee power. I wanted to try and see how high I could get my melee power to theorize what that would look like. So let's get into the build. So I'm going to bounce between the game and my Excel sheet to show you how I came up with the build. So first off, real quick, this is my stat sheet. It's pretty mediocre in terms of stats and defenses, and I know all that. This was literally just for trying to get high melee power. Right now we're sitting at 325, and we'll actually get that a bit higher, so we'll show you how that works. I went 18 fighter, 1 barb, 1 favorite soul, and I'm going to bounce to my Excel sheet now to kind of show you the breakdown of that. So, like I said, 18 fighter, 1 barb, 1 favorite soul. Our initial starting stats are right here. Max strength, because we're a strength build, dump some points in the dex, a little bit of con for some health, and the rest into charisma for divine might. You can see that some of this is outdated when I made it, and some of it we've changed in here as well. So let's go down to feats real quick. Feats, I've got my feats I took through my normal leveling, and I've got my feats I took through fighter levels, because you get bonus feats as a fighter, and my feats I took through epic levels. So these two really go hand in hand here. So we are a single weapon fighting dagger build. So I took power attack because I'm a strength build, and I took single weapon fighting, improved single weapon fighting, and greater. We've got completions here. You no longer have to take that feat as of update 56. I think one of the patches that go with it. However, I still had it on here because I made the build before then. Since I'm a fighter, I do take the weapon focus line, weapon focus piercing to help your dagger damage, as well as some flat melee power. So I've got weapon focus, weapon specialization, greater weapon focus, greater weapon specialization, and superior weapon focus. Some other feats I took cleave and great cleave because fighters get a ton of feats, and that made leveling and AoE clear a lot easier. I took improved crit, piercing, so I can get my over crit later on. I took stunning blow because I'm a strength build, and that also helps leveling some too. And then I had some extra feats, so I took dodge, mobility, and spring attack just for the movement. Epically, I took over crit for the multiplier, perfect single weapon fighting, obviously, to keep that line going, offhand versatility to get more of a modifier on your single weapon fighting damage, crush weakness for the extra helpless damage, tactical supremacy for the tactical ability, DC from fighters, some extra double strike. At 30 I took power critical just because I wasn't sure what else to take. Had enough feats, figured might as well amp up the crit damage. In my level 30 feat I took flat melee power. Next, before we get into the melee power and the gear and all that, let's get into the action point trees, which start right here, and I am going to bounce back to the game to show you that. So here are my action points. So you can do a split build here because I'm trying to maximize melee power. So you technically go Capstone Vistani, but you're going top tree Kitse. And so let's just start from the beginning over here. Half orc, I just had my 13 racial action points to dump. There is one important piece. You're wanting to get this Orcish Rage because it gives you a plus 40 primal bonus to melee power. So obviously we're going to pick that up because that's going to go into our optimal melee power. The rest I did here was just some extra strength, an extra action boost, and some extra flat damage from power attack. So going over here to Kitse, you need, so remember we're going after melee power, so there's 3 important things to take in here for focusing melee power. We need to get to the 18 capstone. That gives us a flat 20. Along the way we do get to pick up power surge, which is nice. I'll show you that in a second. It's the flat 8 sonic bonus to all abilities. And the capstone here has no melee power, so that's why I wasn't after it. Next, you'll take extra action boost. Is how I filled my thing there. As you can see, I get like 16. And then light blades all the way up, some extra critical damage, strength, and then your second important thing you need to take here is opportunity attack, as this will help give us a buff for an extra 20 melee power. And the last important one we're going to take is one with the blade, because that gives a flat 20 melee power as well. So essentially from Kitse, we're getting 40 standing melee power with an additional 20 that we can keep up. Because you can keep this up pretty often because you attack pretty fast. The rest of this was just filler. I took the potion for the heal amp. I took the improved destruction, deadly strike, good death. All that's pretty straightforward when you're going into that tree. So then next, let's go over to the Vistani tree. So the Vistani tree, again, we're after melee power. So there's a couple crucial ones in here. First off, the capstone here does give 20 melee power, so we knew that we wanted to get this capstone, which is why I was okay splitting and not going pure fighter. So we obviously go through the whole capstone to get to the capstone at the end to get the flat 20. And then pretty straightforward again, we go dagger damage up the side, defenses up the middle. And then the other important pieces we want here, we like the haste boost, rapid slash, our strength, 1 flat weapon die for daggers, and then here's our flat 20 melee power for single weapon fighting. So that's the other important piece. And then the rest of the stuff is pretty much filler. So 5 double strike, and then these 3 bleeding cuts, undead hunter, and acrobatic I just dumped points into so I could hit the capstone, because it's pretty hard to hit 41 points without going into the top tree. The only other thing that matters out of here is this Vistani Fortune gives you 1 out of 4 chance to get some extra melee power. It's a chance, but if you get the swords one, it's an extra 15 melee power. And then to round out my action points here, I took Divine Might for some extra flat damage for my charisma, and my last 2 points I spent into Ravager just to grab 1 more damage from power attack. So that is the action points of trying to maximize melee power from action points. Next, let's do our Epic Destinies. So Epic Destinies, same thing. We're after some damage and melee power here. So the easiest way to get melee power is through the cores. So you're gonna see that we're dumping some points in to get some extra cores here. But first off, we're gonna start from the left. So we're gonna go Dreadnought first. Pretty straightforward, I feel like, when you're not you're either focusing Fury or Dreadnought if you're a melee that's not a Paladin or Monk, or maybe Rogue. But anyways, pretty straightforward stuff. We're gonna take all the cores because that gives you a flat 5 melee power per core. So we're taking 20 right there, and then here extra +3 abilities when we've got our action boost on, dire charge, the dread mantle, all pretty straightforward stuff here in terms of trying to maximize the melee power. Then you go over to Fury, and we're looking through the same thing here. We've got 20 melee power coming from the core. The only other things that really mattered in here, we're picking up some extra strength when we're raging, Primal Scream to get us some extra strength, and that's about it. We get some extra double strike through here, and that's about all we get. And then through Grandmaster, I took Grandmaster just because I was trying to find ways I could dump points to still be useful and get the melee power from here. So we're picking up 6 stun DCs, essentially 3% double strike. Really, that's all we're getting, but we're grabbing this flat 15 melee power from the bottom here. So that's really what I was after. I was just dumping some points to get there. So total from here, we're getting 55 melee power just from the cores of your Epic Destinies. So that's actually a pretty decent chunk. And then also we're going to pick up the action hero up here because this is going to give us a 30 melee power action boost. Because as you can see, I don't have melee power action boost anywhere else. So I'm just cleaning up some of my sheet down here because I was switching some things up. When I was leveling, I actually went top tree Vistani for a while just because I like Blessed Blades when I'm leveling. So as you can see, that's up there. So I was just making sure I was putting my stuff back down here. That's about it though. Okay, so moving on, let's go back to our sheet. Let's see what we got next. So you can see this is just the breakdown of how I do my action points when I'm doing them. Because Excel's got nice little features in it they'll calculate your points for you too. So if I put 100 here, it calculates my action points. So that's why I do it in Excel. Keeps track for me. Same with the Destinies down here at the bottom. So let's go over here to what I'm wearing. So gear wise, trying to figure out how to maximize melee power. A little tricky. You're looking for things that either give you flat melee power, artifact melee power, or profane. That's what I was looking for. I actually could not squeeze profane into the build. So obviously there's a little room for improvement there. But let's go through what I went with. So we'll jump back to the game, close that, and we will go with what I'm wearing. So I went with, first off, weapon, bottle of rum, really just because it looks like one of the more higher DPS daggers from the extra half weapon die from the Vorpal on it. So I'm really looking for flat damage. So let's start with our set that we're wearing. The set we're wearing is part of the family. So Enforcer's Coat, Hammer Fist, and Family Recruit Sigil. I would trade this out for the Raid one once I get it. I actually don't have that one yet, but the Family Blessing, I'd rather have that one there. But these three give you your 15 flat artifact to melee power. So that's why I'm wearing those. And then our helmet is from Feywild. It also gives Crown of Summer, which gives you a flat 10 melee power. So that's why we're wearing that. We're doing legendary precision goggles for our lenses. Precision lenses for our goggles. Said that backwards. Pretty much just straight for the action boost enhancement, melee, alacrity, and insightful strength. Manslayer's nice too, but I'm not after that. Down here, we are into the bracers out from Feywild. This is essentially for charisma buff, as well as insightful seeker and insightful double strike. As you can see, when I jump back to my Excel sheet, I really didn't have any rings picked out, as I didn't really care what they were or needed them in terms of melee power. So the two rings I went with, I actually think this is still my level 21 ring, so I never even threw another ring here, so ignore that one and ignore that one. They're both still my level 21 rings. So those you could fill in with whatever. As you can see, I didn't go too hard on this build at the end game. I was literally just trying to test the melee power and move on. For my boots, I did piston boots for the quality combat mastery, the stunning, and the kick 'em while you're down, because you trip often, and your dire charge also can trip too, and your fury can also trip, so you can get some free flat damage and attack from tripped creatures there. Gloves are Hammer Fist, like I said, part of the set. Belt is legendary Belt of the Ram from Feywild. Quality strength on there. It's your con item, it's your speed item, and it's got Ram's Might. All really, really great stats for a strength build. And then next I've got my artifact. That's the cloak out from the Gatekeepers in the harbor. On here for the strength, it's got Quality Seeker, and it's got Raging Strength, so I can buff up my strength a little more while I'm raging. For the trinket, I've just got the Epic Litany of the Dead for the flat profane 2 damage and the profane 2 abilities. So that's everything there. If you're curious on filigrees, I'm really just after melee power right now. I ideally would throw prowess in one of the jewels, but I don't have enough different prowess filigrees right now, so I didn't run that. So you'll see that's missing from our optimal melee power. So if you're curious on what I did do, I've just got some flat melee power ones in here from One Against Many, because that also gives you melee power bonuses. Blood Feast, because I had some extra melee power ones there. Sucker Punch for melee power, and Next Fall for melee power. And if you see, the artifacts got similar ones in there too. Sucker Punch, Next Fall, Blood Feast. So, with all that being said, that brings our melee power right now to 325 standing. So there's a couple different ways we can do this. When we buff up, we have to buff up a very specific way. The last thing that mattered with melee power was my Reaper enhancements. I do get these flat ones permanently, so it's just an extra 3. And then when you get into Reaper, you've got an extra 3, 6, 9, 15, 21. So essentially an extra 21 when you're in Reaper. So that's nice. So you're grabbing a total 24 from this tree, technically, when you're in a quest. Because normally what I run is pretty much Reaper unless it's raids. But talking about this build in general, this build it was fun, but it is just a beef ball, straightforward slashing, no healing, not very tanky frontline type of build. So it was fun to run. I never ran it past about R5. As you see, you don't have much defense at all. Low PRR, low MRR, your saves suck, your AC sucks. So definitely just here just for the melee check. I'm going to show you how to get the highest damage outside of a quest, and then I'll also post a video of an actual end quest when we can. Because you kind of have to do these in a specific order. Let's go through the bar first real quick. So real quick, my bar that I use down here really is top two. My number one button is Adrenaline for the extra damage. I've got a good death from Kinsei for when they're in an execution range. Stunning Blow, it's at an 86 fortitude. When you put on Divine Might, switched out. When you put on Divine Might and you're all buffed up, it's up to 95. You can go up to about 100 with Power Surge and New Rages and all that stuff, so it'll go a little over 100. So pretty decent. Cleave, Dire Charge, 105 there. Like I said, you could probably go up another 5 or 10 when you're buffed up. Opportunity Attack is what you want to keep up all the time. That gives you that flat 20 melee power when you're hitting things. Great Cleave, Rapid Slash you want to keep up all the time. That's that 20% flat double strike bonus from Vistani. My Spring Attack's here just for mobility, and then my Vistani Fortune is here again so that I can see the timer so I can remember to keep activating it. My second tree down here is Primal Scream, Trip, the Smite Foe, which I rarely use, One Cut to try to keep up for an extra multiplier, Haste Boost, Divine Might, Power Surge, and Orc's Rage. And then down here I've got the Reaper's buffs, as well as I get Night Shield for being level 1 Favorite Soul, and Divine Favor, but it doesn't do much. My Legendary Rally, I'm actually going to move up to one of these. I'm probably going to put Spring Attack over here. I'll put Legendary Rally up there. Otherwise, your bar is pretty straightforward. You do Rage, so you've got Rage down here. Otherwise, not too difficult of a class to play. You're pretty much just going and smacking things. As far as damage goes, I'll pop down to one of the dummies here. So your damage plus 143. Throw on that for an extra 5, so 148. You can actually buff up pretty decently here with Bard buffs and Reaper full on buffed up with strength. I think the highest I got to was plus 183. So not bad for a single weapon fighting build. So here we're going to see if we got lucky. We didn't there. That's the plus 2 to all stats. So we could have gotten 15 melee power from there. So to buff up as much as you can, you actually have to do it in a specific order here. So you want to throw Divine Favor on, you want to throw Divine Might on, Primal Scream, Power Surge. I just killed that thing on accident. And then you have to Rage before you Orcus Rage. Otherwise you can't do it. So right here we're going to show you real quick. When I hit that plus 2, I'm at 385. So 385 plus 15 potentially. If this would have rolled my swords for 15, I would have been at a flat 400, which would have been nice for the picture. We'll try to get here in 12 seconds. If it doesn't go, then it just won't go on this one. Oh, I forgot my Legendary Action Hero too. So actually a little higher than that. So we're going to let this reset real quick. And then we will put Divine Might back on. We're still raged, so we're going to Orcus Rage. We're going to turn Glyphs on, that didn't work. We're going to turn this on, and then we're going to smack again. See, now we're at 415. So 415 melee power. So theoretically, if Vistani Fortune rolled your way there, you would be at 430. And then if you actually filled out and got prowess like I wanted to with the action boost here, you could have been at 480. So when we pop back to our Excel sheet, you actually see that I was actually quite a bit off here. I was actually able to get quite a bit more. So 480. So if you had prowess and had, that would put you at 480. And then if you were in Reaper, that would give you another 21. So you could be at 501. So I'll try to see if I can find another piece or two of prowess and get a screenshot of being at 501 melee power in a quest. But theoretically, it's there. So let's go through real quick how we got to some of that. So fighter feats, like I said, 10 from taking the weapon focus, weapon specialization, great weapon focus, great weapon specialization, and superior weapon focus. Kinsei, flat 40 from Kinsei, a flat 40 from Vistani. You get 6 per epic level, so when you get up to 32, that adds up to 72. I've got 20 from the legendary Dreadnought Core. I've got 20 from Fury. I've got 10 from the perfect single weapon fighting all the way through that combat style feat line. My third Destiny gave me another 15. My level 30 gave me 15. I actually didn't throw an augment in there, so that didn't do anything. My artifact set from part of the family gives me 15, and the crown that I'm wearing gives me 10. And then on the other side here, a boost that I was using, Orcish Power gave me 40, Action Boost gave me 30, Opportunity Attack gave me 20, Vistani could give me 15, and like I said, you could get 50 from Prowess as well. So these numbers are actually pretty low. We actually beat these numbers because we weren't using Prowess. So back over here, 325. Let me see if I can get an Opportunity Attack back. If I can get an Opportunity Attack back, I'll try it one more time for the stat. These things die so fast when they're helpless. You can recharge your opportunity attacks by hitting things. That's what I was trying to do there. So let's see, I'll do one more go, see if I can get higher. If not, then I'll try to save it for the next video when I do a quest video. So again, throw in all your buffs in order. I won't have action hero, so never mind, won't be. And of course, I got swords while my action hero's down. That's just how it goes. But I messed that up there because I did them in the wrong order. See, good example. You can't Orcish Rage before you rage. You have to rage before you Orcish Rage. But I will try to clean that up and see if I can get a good snapshot in the quest on Reaper and see if I can actually get closer to that 500 mark in melee power. But it is doable. Through the math that we just did, you technically could get up to 501 in melee power there. That would be pretty cool. So that's the build I've been doing. I'm about to go on to a new build, so I will post videos about that too. I will go ahead and post a follow-up video or two about this of just some gameplay to show you what the numbers look like in Quest. But it's similar playstyle to that rogue single weapon fighting damage build I just did. It's just instead of sneak attack, you've got more flat damage on melee power in your first number. So, fun build. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys can think of any ways to boost the melee power higher than I did, let me know. I obviously know that I'm missing Profane, but really the only way was to get Profane was to go for a bigger set like Isle of Dread, and that's a 5-piece set, and it just didn't seem worth the pieces on it, and then do a smaller set for artifact melee power. I did think of that. I thought about going 5-piece Isle of Dread and then doing like a smaller 2 or 3-piece set to get artifact melee power somewhere else, but this is what I went with. It was fun. It'd be cool to see that 501 melee power number, so I will try for that. If you guys can think of a way to get higher than that, let me know. But that's all I got for you now. See you guys.